So let me give you a great example of how enterprising business professionals today are taking everything they know about promoting others and using that in social media sites like Facebook and YouTube. Arvil Price, a home inspector in Charlotte, North Carolina, with America's Choice Home Inspections, started doing this. During a home inspection, he would knock on the door and Mr. and Mrs. Seller would come to the door. I'll give you Arvil's script. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. My name's Arvil, and I'm here today to do your home inspection. I know you didn't hire me. I was hired by the buyer to perform the home inspection, but I noticed on my way up the sidewalk the name of your listing agent on the sign. It's important for me to try and identify people who are doing a great job in this business. So would you mind telling me a little bit about your experience with your listing agent and whether or not you would refer them to others? He is essentially videotaping at that point, a very small handheld camera, the video testimonial of the sellers about their listing agent. And he's getting it at the time of the home inspection. Now, fast forward. At the completion of the home inspection, he's calling the listing agent and he's saying, I completed the home inspection for you today at 123 Main Street, and I just wanted to let you know your sellers love you. In fact, I was able to capture a video testimonial about what you do and how happy they were with you. Do you know how to post that video on your website? I'll be glad to show you how. In the meantime, I would like to be able to promote you and put that up on my Facebook page so that other people can see outstanding agents in the area. Do you understand the impact of what he has given to that listing agent? And by promoting and collaborating with others, he has built an amazing business and a ton of incredible relationships. And it's all RESPA compliant. Which leads us into tip number 2. Promote others using social media throughout your network. You know, speaking of home inspectors, Preston Sandlin, the owner of Home Inspections in Carolina, found out that one of the most watched videos that people were watching had to do with how-to. And since he's a home inspector and he's pretty well versed in repairs around the house, he began videotaping every repair he made around his home. So Preston now has a series of homemade videos that deal with everything from how to replace a garbage disposal, how to change a lock in a door, how to install a dimmer switch in your living room, how to stop a leaky faucet. And you can imagine hanging those on his Facebook page, linked from YouTube, the amazing success he was able to build with promoting that kind of information. But now he can take that same information and he can provide it to buyer's agents so that they have those videos for first-time home buyers. He can provide it to current sellers who are trying to get the property in the right condition for resale. And here's one thing that RESPA never took into account. So if you promise not to tell the regulators I shared this with you, you can use it. When RESPA was enacted back in 1974, the only formats that it saw for us in doing advertising and marketing were the traditional venues of magazine ads, newspaper ads, radio, and TV. And when we did joint advertising in those venues, we had to share the pro rata cost, meaning we had to do all those calculations and figure it all out. So let me just ask you, what does it cost to put a video on YouTube? The answer is 0. What does it cost to put a promotional post up on my Facebook page, my blog, even my website? And the answer to that is also 0. So we can promote each other and our related services and the services provided by our settlement service provider network all day long in social media without having to worry about pro rata sharing of costs. It's a great idea, and it's a way to build your network bigger, faster, and more tight-knit than ever before using those new tools. Tip number 3, collaborate with your clients on building a network. You know, one thing we've learned from social media, and the popularity of sites like Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube is that your clients and consumers have a lot to contribute, and they're all too willing to contribute and provide information on the internet. Let me give you the example. Have you heard of Angie's List? That must be one tired lady. I mean, the last time I was to Angie's List, there were reviews and comments on over 10,000 different types of professionals. Yes, that's right. She didn't do those herself. She simply created a collaborative forum where consumers could go and post up their comments about the settlement service providers they were working with. So I would ask, what's your plan? To collaborate and ask your clients to provide you with direct feedback regarding their experience with their mortgage lender, their home inspector, their title or escrow officer, their closing attorney, and then what's your plan for sharing that on social media? Tip number 4, become the neighborhood tour and features guide. You know, when we talked earlier about the massive list, some 50 plus items and people that I now needed in Module 2 to have an effective network of providers in a real estate transaction, we talked about things like neighborhood restaurants. We talked about things like neighborhood retail establishments, favorite places to go, and venues. So I can promote all of that stuff freely. Hey, most of the people on that list are not settlement service providers. They're outside the scope and the purview of RESPA. So if I concentrate on promoting the services of people outside of the real estate transaction, the guy who can fix your computer, the favorite chef in town, and I do that on my real estate sites, whether it be my YouTube channel, my blog, Trulia, Zillow, where a lot of neighborhood information is located, then I'm building a bigger and bigger network. I'm collaborating and giving back to the settlement service providers, or business people that are outside of the settlement service provider framework, and I don't have to worry about compliance with RESPA. If you really want to understand the power of this, you don't need to go any further than the laptop or the computer device you're viewing this on. Simply go to YouTube, search Charlotte Homes for Sale, and you'll run across a video that was done by an agent in the Charlotte area. And the video isn't about push advertising and saying, here's a home you need to buy. It's providing the consumers with information about relocating to Charlotte. Why would I want to live there? What's in the neighborhood? What are the major attractions? What are the best and the most beautiful things? And that video today has over 45,000 views hanging on YouTube. Do you think the agent could have provided that welcome to the Charlotte area video to all of their settlement service providers who in turn could have linked it on their sites or pushed it out even further? So lots of room to move forward in a social media world. Tip number 5, initiate pro rata advertising. Look, you know from this course that joint advertising between a real estate professional, a mortgage lender, a title company, or a closing attorney is permitted under RESPA, even in the print form, so long as we share pro rata-wise in the costs. And you learned some tips in this class that probably elevated your flyers to the next level, and you haven't even realized it yet. Because I'm willing to bet that some of the settlement service providers you work with, such as your mortgage lender or your title or escrow people, may not even understand QR codes or know that they can go to Google's URL shortener tool and get a free QR code that links people back to their website. So it's time to reapproach and rebuild those relationships. To contact your mortgage lender and tell them you're interested in putting a joint flyer together, featuring you as the real estate professional, them as the mortgage lender, and you are going to take and assume the burden and the costs of getting the QR codes and inserting them on the flyer. Because you and I both know now that you can do that for free. then share the pro rata cost of the flyer, but you're providing a whole different level of service as an ancillary business partner that they're probably not getting from other people they work with. Promote others, they in turn will promote you. And number 6, I would tell you to exploit pro rata advertising using social media. We've already talked about this with what folks like Arvil Price or Preston Sandlin are doing with their home inspection businesses, but there's no limit to what we can do, link, and point to other people. If we're not promoting the people with whom we work and we're holding it back as some secretive list, then we're missing out on today's best marketing opportunities. Tip number 7, negotiate benefits for your client, not yourself. You know, we mentioned this earlier. I just want you to understand the full importance of it. We know, given RESPA, that it would be totally inappropriate and illegal for me to approach my mortgage lender and say, for each client that I send to you, I want you to give me $50. That's a thing of value given in exchange for the referral of business. But there is absolutely nothing to stop me from approaching my mortgage lender and saying, for every one of Len's VIP clients that you get, I want you to give them $50 off the loan application fee or a $50 credit toward their appraisal. You'll find many of them are willing to do that, and you can negotiate true, tangible, and differentiating benefits for your client without trying to get a direct, immediate thing of value back for that referral from your settlement service providers. Number 8, polish your referral script. You know, some of you are going to be in companies that have a lot of ABA relationships. You're working for a large real estate entity, they have a mortgage lender, a title company, a preferred home inspector, and you have a unique selling proposition or script with which to work with consumers. You have the ability to approach those consumers and say, because we care so much about the overall transaction, we have identified the best and the brightest settlement service providers, and we have affiliated business arrangements with them. I'm certain that there is a substantial group of consumers to whom such a description and marketing approach would have an appeal. But I'm just as certain that if you're all by yourself in a single brokerage, you could get just as good at delivering a script that says, some companies try to push you towards companies in which they also have an ownership interest. Those are called ABAs, and you may have heard of them. But to me, I wanted to preserve totally and independently your freedom of choice. So I don't have co-ownership in other entities. Therefore, you can count on the fact that when I make a referral to a particular settlement service provider, it's because of how much it benefits you and not anything that I get from it. 2 totally different scripts, but they're your own unique settlement provider's value proposition. So as step 9, I tell you to get busy crafting it. And whether in this business you're the huge ocean liner or whether you're the small fishing boat, there's room for all, and there's a marketing approach for all, and either marketing approach can fit with the requirements of RESPA. Finally, tip number 10. If you ever have questions down the road about what works and what doesn't work and is this a violation, I would tell you to simply ask yourself one simple question. Is what I'm doing and what I'm trying to negotiate and create really and truly for the benefit of the client, or is it for the benefit of you? Because the bottom line is, if it benefits you, it's probably in violation. If it benefits the client, everybody wins. I know this course asks you to do a lot, probably a lot more than you ever expected in a RESPA legal issues compliance type class, because you've got some homework to do. We've asked you to build a list of 50 plus different people to work with in your network. We've asked you to get up to speed on some of the technologies such as QR codes and videos. We've asked you to think about some new business models and approaches, and we've asked you to try and implement that with all of the 10 steps that we just went through. And I have to tell you, in teaching courses nationally and traveling the country, whenever I have a course that in turn demands a lot of you in order to reap the true value and benefit of the class, what haunts me most is the story of a young girl and her boat named Ella. You see, in the fall of 2010, a young girl who was 16 years old decided she was going to sail this small boat around the world. Yeah, I can't imagine. If she were to be successful in that endeavor, it would require a lot of her. She would be at sea alone for 275 odd days. And she would have to be totally self-contained because this is a non-stop trip. So she would have to be able to either carry or obtain her own food, be able to purify the seawater, and live self-sustained on this boat for 275 days. And in the fall of 2010, she left the coast of Australia.
There's a silence I hear, in between every heartbeat. The sky has her lights on, the sea sings a night song. I'm on course, it seems. A fool on the ocean, a hero's devotion to an impossible dream. All alone on the edge of forever, with the wind in my sails. Somewhere between heaven and sea, I found the true spirit in me. Feel the spray on my skin, so this must be real. I need to know that you still believe. Your faith is my keel. There's nothing I'm fearing, the horizon's nearing. I'm only a light breeze away. The world that I sailed through, the girl that I once knew, floating in yesterday. All alone on the edge of forever, with the wind in my sails.
Australian hero.
I'm actually going to disagree with what our Prime Minister has just said. I don't consider myself a hero. I'm an ordinary girl who believed in her dream. You don't have to be someone special or anything special to achieve something amazing. You just got to have a dream, believe in it, and work hard. And I'd also like to think that by sailing solo, non-stop, unassisted around the world, that I've proved what really can be achieved when you set your mind to it. You know, that anything really is possible. So thanks for the amazing welcome, guys.
In between every heartbeat, the sky has her lights on. The sea sings a night song. I'm on course, it seems. A fool on the ocean, a hero's devotion to an impossible dream. All alone on the edge of forever, with the wind in my sails. Somewhere between heaven and sea, I found the true spirit in me. I feel the spray on my skin, so this must be real. I need to know that you still believe. Your faith is my key. I'm fearing, horizon's nearing, I'm only a light breeze away. The world that I sailed through, the girl that I once knew, floating in yesterday. All alone on the edge of forever, with the wind in my sails. Somewhere between heaven and sea, I found the true spirit in me. Every way only makes me strong. Holding on, every star above is a light that's reminding me to believe. Every star reminds me to believe. All alone on the edge of forever, with the wind in my sails. Somewhere between heaven and sea, I found the true spirit in me.
So what does what Jessica Watson did and her little boat named Ella mean to you as a real estate professional? And what does it have to do with anything we've talked about? Well, it's simply this. Every day, no matter where I'm teaching or where I'm traveling, we give helpful advice so that people can get it, use it, and try to become more successful because of it. And the most common feedback that I hear from real estate professionals is, that sounds like a lot of work. That sounds like a lot of effort. Me, I'm left with the haunting image of Jessica Watson and her little boat named Ella, and this thought. If a young girl aged 16 can accomplish tasks like that and have that much success, what's so hard about building powerful relationships when it simply involves reaching out connecting with others, and pushing the right buttons on your laptop. I wish you the best. Thank you for joining us. I hope you got more out of this course than you ever have out of a legal compliance RESPA class, and I wish you safe sailing and safe journeys on your road to compliance, knowing full well what you can truly do.